Rogers TV Durham would like to acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation of the Mississauga Nation. May we respectfully honor the knowledge and understanding of the Indigenous stewards of these ancestral lands and ensure that the voices of the First Peoples are represented in our collections, programs, and services.
The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Players Corner with Karim Grant. I am your host with the mostest, and today we have a special guest in the building. His name is Jaylen Babb-Harrison. Now, Jaylen is a professional hooper as well as an entrepreneur, and a good one at that. Now, Jaylen, thanks for coming by.
Appreciate you for having me.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure, man. I've been wanting to have this sit down with you for some time, man. I've known you for almost a couple decades now.
Yeah,
it's been a while, man. And we were just chopping it up before the camera started rolling about your time in Scarborough and then your move to the Durham region and, you know, excelling in basketball and getting a Division I scholarship and playing for Team Canada, all these great things and all these great accolades. And I just wanted to be able to lend a voice to your story because a lot of times, you know, we sit and we talk about, you know, other people all the time. But there's people right in front of us that have great stories that are impactful in their own rights. And so I just wanted to get a good sense of this great young man here who's doing great things in the Durham region.
Appreciate it.
You know, where did you get started? How did basketball become your thing?
I feel like it started out just as a family thing, to be honest. Like, ever since I could remember, I had a basketball in my hand. Probably my biggest inspiration growing up was my mom.
Right.
Everywhere I went with my mom when I was growing up in Scarborough, all I heard was how good she was at basketball and how she was on her way to get a scholarship.
She was dope. She was dope. Shout out Galloway.
Yep, for sure. So just hearing that over and over again just gave me a reason to kind of want to exceed with basketball. So that was probably my first inspiration.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So were there any other sports that you tried your hand at?
Not really. Track. I did track for a little bit when I was really young, but I don't know what happened. I just got slow all of a sudden, so that was it was a wrap from there. But yeah, pretty much only basketball. If I did play another sport, it was in high school, and it was literally to prepare for my basketball season.
Absolutely, absolutely. I fully understand. I played a little bit of basketball to kind of keep me in shape for football.
Exactly.
So that's why I was able to kind of, you know, coach and parlay what I was doing from football into basketball into coaching because I had that background. Now, given your background and moving into the realm of leaving Scarborough, how was Scarborough growing up, first of all?
Scarborough was great. I feel like you grow up a lot faster in Scarborough than you do in Durham. I remember just coming downstairs from my building, there was a bus stop literally right in front of my building, and I could get anywhere in the city from that one bus stop.
That's not like Ajax.
No, so when I moved to Ajax, I felt like I was stuck, like trapped, like no car, like can't really get around. So yeah, growing up in Scarborough, you grow up a lot faster, but it's more fun, I feel.
Yeah, so, and talk about that transition. It's a bit of a culture shock coming to Durham.
Yeah, definitely a culture shock. Like I said, I felt stuck when I was in Ajax. It took a while for me to get used to.
Right.
But I grew to like it, though. Like, I love Ajax now.
Yeah, Ajax is dope, man. Ajax is really a burgeoning community that's poised for some really great things. And really, we have a lot of great athletes that come from this area, from that kind of pipeline from Scarborough, right? So it's really a great niche to see everybody involved in sport and the development of sport in this area. So when did you realize that basketball was your thing and it was going to take you to the next level?
When did I realize basketball was my thing? Probably around 6th, 7th grade, when I realized I was really good. I know you were around those days when I won MVP for Scarborough Blues back-to-back.
Nice.
So that's kind of when I started to realize like I had potential and I could do something with the game.
Right. And for me, I was never I wasn't able to get a Division I scholarship. You know, that's one of the regrets I've always had. But I ended up doing great things professionally. You were able to secure a Division I scholarship. Talk about that process. How did that come about?
So it was definitely a long process. I feel like everything I did from when I started playing basketball to getting that scholarship kind of led up to me getting the scholarship. But a funny story, so this was the beginning of kind of the process of getting the scholarship was when I was playing in the Mother Teresa tournament in Scarborough. And Nat Mitchell, who's the assistant coach for the Raptors right now, I think I was like having a great game. I had like 40 points that game. I think I had like 6 or 7 threes.
Oh, this is a high school game? You had 40 points?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. MT tournament, so it's a pretty big tournament too.
With mostly threes or mid-range?
I think I was doing I was playing the point guard, so I was doing everything
so
at
you had
this
to rock,
time.
okay.
Yeah. And Nat Mitchell was in the stands, and he was like, "Who's this kid? This kid's going crazy. Like he's nice." And my mom was sitting like right beside him, and my mom was like, "That's my son. That's my son." And kind of ever since then, I got introduced to Nat, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he put me in position to kind of be in front of the right people to get recruited and get a scholarship.
Nice. Now, I can almost hear your mom saying, "That's my son, that's my
Exactly.
son." Is she still like that when she comes to your games?
Definitely, exact same. She has not changed. She calmed down, toned it down a little bit, but
just a little bit, huh?
Still the same.
Shout out to your mom. Shout out to her, man. She's a great mom, a great inspiration to, mothers everywhere who are really raising young black kids and doing their best to give you guys the best platform to play on. What changed for you after that game when you said, "You know what, this is my sport and I'm going to dedicate myself to it"?
Definitely my routine changed a lot. From then, when I was really like locked in and trying to get that scholarship, it was every morning I was in the gym, every night doing my push-ups, skipping. I remember at nighttime there was the superstore, like a grocery store right across the street from my house.
Right.
And I'd go there with 2 basketballs. I used to be doing dribbling drills in the parking lot late at night because I couldn't do it during the day because the neighbors would complain.
Right.
But my routine just totally changed, and I was just super locked in.
So that's incredible. I mean, I remember when I was in school and I thought to myself, I got to find some way to differentiate myself from the rest, to separate myself from everybody else. And I used to swim. So I guess that dribbling of the basketball in the wee hours of the morning really helped you
for sure
to separate yourself from the rest of the crowd, right?
1000%.
What else do you think in terms of work ethic helped you to secure this scholarship?
Man, just the dedication and just the persistence. Like, no matter what was going on, like I stuck with my routine and I said, like, I'm gonna get this scholarship no matter what. Like, I had people telling me that I should stay in Canada. I had people telling me like, this might not be for you, but.
And how does that, like, you got a lot of people in your ear. How do you listen? How do you take all the information? I'm saying this because I know a lot of kids that are going through this right now, and there's a lot of people in their ears, and they don't know who to listen to. They're not sure which one is the right information as opposed to the wrong information. How do you decipher that?
I would say you have your select few people in your life that kind of have been there from the jump and have your best interests. I would say kind of weed out everybody else that's just coming out of the woodworks and stick with those people and listen to those people and take their advice into consideration, and also what you want to do for yourself.
And also listen to your mom too, right?
Yeah, your mom too.
Gotta listen to mom, man. Like I used to always say, and I still say it to this day, is that if your mom doesn't bless it, it's not gonna happen for you. And for me, that's been so real because I've never done anything without my mom's blessing. And I realize if she doesn't like it, it's not gonna work out for me.
Exactly.
Because when things go wrong, that's who you call, right?
They always know best.
Right.
They always know
So
best.
now, speaking of culture shock, now you end up in Eastern Kentucky University. It's not a hotbed for Canadians.
No.
So how did you manage that transition now?
That was a lot. I'm not gonna lie. That was definitely a culture shock. But a lot of good things about it as well. Like, you're on campus, you're like a celebrity, you know what I mean? You get all this love everywhere. But in terms of like the culture, it was a lot different. Like, I was in the country.
Bluegrass country.
Yeah, like I just told you I had a bus stop right outside of my apartment. I grew up like that.
Yeah.
To now, I don't think I've seen one bus in Kentucky, you know what I mean? Wow. So just a different lifestyle over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a time when, obviously we're integrated, racially and everything. Did you find there was a racial divide when you were there?
Most definitely. It wasn't like direct racism in your face, but there was definitely, like, I remember there was certain places in Kentucky that it Like black people just knew like not to go there.
Right.
And at the time, like I didn't really like question it or further ask any questions like why can't we go there? But now that I'm out of it and I think about it, that's pretty crazy that like there's areas like we just weren't supposed to go to. Yeah. So.
And do you find that because of your status as an athlete, that superseded your race sometimes? It helped you in certain situations?
1000%.
Right.
So I feel like there was a lot of racism going around, but because I was an athlete and I was doing something for the community and for the school there, that it kind of got masked. So I didn't really feel it as much.
And then you're a 4-year player there. You led the conference in 3-point percentage, which is incredible.
46%.
Excuse me, 46%. That's almost half of your threes.
Yeah, that's
tough. That type of work ethic, it starts from a younger age, and it kind of manifests itself as you get older. Do you feel like you could do more there or do you have any regrets about leaving Eastern Kentucky?
No, I don't really have any regrets. I feel like when I was there, I was definitely going hard. I was definitely locked in. I had my head on straight for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely getting in the gym, extra work. I was doing a lot. I was working really hard. So in terms of like working and just working hard, I feel like I did what I had to do.
Right. And how do you feel like the teachings and the learnings and all the studying you did there helped you for your life after basketball?
Oh, it definitely helped a lot. Just time management was the main thing. Like just being in an environment where you have so much going on. Like you have basketball practice, you got study hall, then you got your classes to go to, and you got weightlifting. Like time management is one of the biggest things that I took from going to school.
Now, I distinctly remember you playing in a couple of really big games. What was the biggest game you played at Eastern Kentucky?
The biggest game was definitely against UK, University of Kentucky at Rupp Arena.
Okay.
That lineup was stacked. They had the tallest lineup in the NBA that year. So if they put that team in the NBA, they'd be the tallest team in the NBA.
Who, name some guys on that team.
It was Willie Cauley-Stein, Trey Lyles, the Harrison twins, Karl Towns.
Wow. These are all lottery picks.
Yeah, Jamal Murray was there the next year. Isaiah Briscoe, how did you perform against that team? Devin Booker was there too.
Devin Booker, that's what I was going to say.
He was actually who was guarding me.
Yeah.
I didn't play my best against those guys, and that's one of my biggest regrets. I wish I had like a big game against UK.
Yeah.
But I was out there. I was doing my thing. So
were you holding your own?
Yeah, for sure, holding my own, definitely.
How much did Devin Booker put on you?
He only had like 6 or 7 points because their team was so stacked that everybody was like averaging like 8
So you're
points,
pretty much
9
saying
points.
that you had Devin Booker strapped up?
You could say that. I'm not going to say it. Some may say that I haven't strapped up.
I mean, I'm going to surmise that you had Devin Booker strapped up. He had 6 points.
Nah.
This is a perennial all-star. You had 6 points.
There you go.
He had 6 points against you.
You said it then. You said it.
Then. So you've heard it here, folks. Jaylen Babb-Harrison strapped up Devin Booker while he was in University of Kentucky, okay? Just so you know. Anyway, so getting back to that now, that's a really big moment. Like, how do you prepare yourself mentally? Was there a lot of jitters there?
Yeah, definitely jitters. I think I over-prepared myself for that situation. Like, I remember before those games, like, I'd literally be in the gym for like 4 times a day.
Right.
And I remember my coach used to see me like, you don't have to, like, you're good. You don't have to be in the gym this much. Like, you'll be fine. That's just how I was. Like, I always wanted to be over-prepared than under-prepared.
But that's incredible because, a lot of, people don't have that availability of access to gyms 4 times in a day.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So that's, you have no excuse but to get better.
Exactly.
And so that's really impressive. I want to talk to you a little bit more about your journey after that and where the university or Eastern Kentucky University took you and what has done for you after university. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Enjoy the break, but make sure you stay tuned for more conversation with Jaylen Babb-Harrison on the Players Corner.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Wednesdays.
Quantum Leap was an experimental time travel program. You're a time traveler leaping from life to life, trying to put right what once went wrong.
He's out there. He's been out there for 3 years.
I've been out to the crash, and I found evidence that someone else was there. We can get their lives back if we figure this out.
I can get him through this.
Don't give up on me.
Quantum Leap. All new. Wednesdays 8, 7 Central on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. What's good? We are back in the studio with Jaylen Babb-Harrison on the Players Corner. Thank you for checking back in with us. Now, we're just talking about Jaylen's journey into basketball, as well as transition at the University of Eastern Kentucky, and just doing his thing against big names like Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker. Now, Jaylen, you left Eastern Kentucky University averaging, 46% from the three-point line. How did that transition help you in your professional career now? What happened next? Like, how did that even, I'm speaking from a person who doesn't understand the basketball game.
Yeah.
How did you get on to becoming a professional basketball player?
So when I was growing up playing basketball, when I was even in high school
Right.
and then at D1, I always wanted to be a guy that did everything. I wanted to dribble, I wanted to pass, I wanted to be an all-around player. But once professional scouts realized that I was shooting 46, leading the conference in three-point percentage, they're like, you're a shooter. We want you to come here and knock down shots.
Yeah, a specialist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you go from D1 to the professional level, unless you're a chosen one like LeBron James or, guys like that, most likely they want you to be a specialist.
Right.
So that's kind of when I transitioned my game from being a all-around type player to being a shooter. And that's what put money in my pocket as a professional athlete.
So were you more of a catch and shoot kind of guy, or were you off the dribble or off a screen or just anything?
A lot of pin down screens, a lot of down screens I used to come off of. I like to shoot off the dribble, but a lot of coaches didn't like that. But as my career went on, I turned more into a catch and shoot type of player.
So then so after your playing career at EKU, you signed with London.
London Lightning, yep.
How was that experience? Your first pro experience?
My first pro experience was in Canada.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, my expectations weren't that high because it was in Canada, coming from the States. But when I actually got there and played my first game and seeing the crowd and how the fans interact with me and the lineup of people that wanted autographs after the game, I was shocked. I was like, wow, we have this in Canada, and I didn't even know, and this is where I'm from.
What'd you do with your first check?
What did I do with my first check?
What'd you buy?
I'm a business guy, so I saved it. I'm trying to make some investments with my check. I invested in my brand.
Speaking of business, so did you have the JBH Fresh brand when you were in EKU?
It wasn't called JBH Fresh yet, but I definitely had a barber brand.
So while you were in school, you were cutting hair.
Yeah.
So you were making money on the side while you're still doing that.
Yeah, I was living good. I was living lavish out there.
That's pretty dope, man.
Scholarship and making money.
If I went to university in Kentucky, I wouldn't know where to get a haircut. I'd probably come back with dreadlocks.
Exactly.
So to have someone like a barber on your team that's there, that's clutch. That's really great, man. So you parlayed that into a lucrative business now. So you do that, is that your full-time job now, pretty much?
Yeah, pretty much. I do basketball and then barbering 50-50 at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Wow. So what made you understand that, okay, this is a lucrative endeavor that I can try, and that's something you wanted to pursue even further?
Once I realized that I can do both, that's when I dove all the way in. I didn't think that my body would allow me to do it, but it just comes down to just, like I said, time management and doing the extra things to take care of my body, like my diet, stretching, yoga, all that stuff I got to stay on top of, and I could do both.
That's incredible. That's almost like being a personal trainer while you are in the sport.
Facts.
Because you're doing something they actually need.
Exactly.
Right? So I'm sure you've had a number of athletes that you've cut their hair that have gone on to great things. Have you cut any NBA guys?
Yeah. So I've cut Scotty Barnes. Gary
Scotty.
Trent was my main client for a while. Earl Watson, who's the coach of the Raptors, I cut him. Yeah, a lot of athletes. A lot of my clients are athletes.
I'm envisioning them in my brain, in my head right now, and I'm thinking, yeah, they do have some dope fades, man. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
That's me.
That makes sense. That's all you. That's great, man. So Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent Jr., you said Earl Watson. Shout out to them. And how did you make that approach to them and say, hey, I'd like to cut your hair?
To be honest, they were referred to me. So I think I cut Earl Watson first. Nat Mitchell referred Earl Watson to me. And then I think Gary Trent seen Earl Watson's cut and was like, oh, who cut your hair? This is when they first came to Toronto.
Yeah.
And then Earl Watson gave Gary Trent my number and then kind of went from there.
So now, do you think that helps you become more of a team guy now that they have to keep around if you're a barber?
Low key, it kind of does help me. I feel like that kind of does make me more attractive to bring to your team now because
you're an asset.
I bring the camaraderie. Like all the players are coming to my shop to get cuts. It's a good thing to have on your team. You're bringing everybody together.
So you hear that? The more you can do, ladies and gentlemen, for your organization, for your team, for anything that you do, make sure that you can do more of it so that they keep you around. And I like the fact that you're able to parlay your success on the court to success off the court. And I didn't say that to say that you were only there because of barbering, but that has also helped you to do other things. Now, you've also played for Team Canada.
Yep.
So talk about that experience.
So honestly, I thought that window for me to play for Team Canada, I thought it was long gone. I thought it was always a dream of mine since I was a kid, but I just didn't think it would happen because I didn't grow up playing for Team Ontario. I wasn't really in that circle.
Right.
But after my season with Niagara River Lions, I had a really good 2 seasons with them actually.
Right.
I got the call from Michael Meeks, and he was just like, we've been watching you for the past 2 years. You've been doing your thing. We want to invite you to training camp. So get ready. Training camp's in a couple days.
Yeah.
So I got ready for training camp, and I had a really good training camp. I was like, there's no way I'm not making this team. I want to go to Brazil. And made it happen. So
that's incredible because usually, and I know from experience with Team Canada, you got to be in the fold. They have to recognize your talents from young. I'm talking grade 8, grade 9.
Yeah.
And you play for their junior development team, then you play maybe Team Ontario, then you try out for their junior nationals, and and so on and so forth. So the guys that have been there for 10, 15 years in the system. How did you feel when you got there and you were playing against the, guys that have been there for a while?
That was probably one of my best feelings as a basketball player, to be honest. Just being in Brazil, that was our first game against Brazil, being in Brazil, and then having that Canada on my chest with my last name on the back. That was just a crazy feeling that I thought I wouldn't be able to get. So it was dope.
And I don't want to equate it to being a soldier at war, but did you feel a sense of real patriotism when you had that maple leaf on your chest?
Yeah, it's definitely a sense of pride. You're playing for your whole country. That's crazy. You know what I mean? I'm used to playing for small towns or a city, but I've never played for my country. So
that's
definitely dope.
Speaking of small towns, now I know you did a small stint in Albania right before COVID. Talk about that experience.
That was different for sure. It was great. The hospitality was great. I love the people in Albania. The food was really good, but I just kind of felt like they were behind in terms of what I'm used to. You know what I mean? But it was definitely a great experience.
And you almost got stuck down there.
Yeah. So the pandemic happened while I was playing in Albania, and they kept saying this is gonna blow over. This is something we never dealt with. Just hang tight. And I literally almost got stuck there. I got on the last flight that could possibly fly from Europe to Canada, the last possible one. If I didn't get on that flight, probably would have still been there right now or something.
My goodness, you probably would have had an Albanian wife.
Yeah, it would have got crazy. I would have been there for months.
An Albanian barber shop there or something. You never know. Who knows, man? No, I'm sure we would have come and got you or something because we can't have a great asset like you over there. We need you right here where you can affect change in so many different ways. It's really incredible to have you here. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your brand and your JBH Fresh brand. And I want you to let me know, for some young entrepreneurs out there, I know it's tough to get started. We had a lot of entrepreneurs get started over COVID, and you started obviously before that. What kind of advice would you give to them?
Young entrepreneurs, you just gotta understand that it's a long journey. And in the beginning stages, you're gonna have a lot of jobs. It's gonna be overwhelming, but I feel like for me personally, being an entrepreneur is one of the most fulfilling things. Like when you actually like achieve success, even if it's something small at the beginning, like it feels really good because you developed it from the ground up. You know what I mean? So you just gotta have patience and know that it's brick by brick. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great words of advice. Now, if you were able to talk to your younger self now about the game of basketball and life itself, what would you tell your younger self?
What I tell my younger self, I would just say, stay in the moment, enjoy the present moment. Don't try to think too far ahead about your future goals, because I'm always been a goal-driven person, and I'm always looking for the next best thing.
Right.
That I don't really enjoy what I have and what I worked for. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, I really feel that. And now going back to the game itself, and I'm really interested to know, because I love to find out about different levels of play. What was the biggest difference in talent or skill or even speed between Division I basketball and, let's say, playing internationally or professionally?
I say Division I basketball is more, you're more coached, like you're not as free. But guys are really athletic. It's a fast-paced game. Compared to international basketball, it's a little bit more slower-paced. They use the shot clock a lot more. They're more physical. They're more tactical. They're running plays. So they're relying on athleticism a little bit less than American-style basketball.
Nice, nice. Now, you know, the All-Star Weekend's coming up. Are you an avid NBA watcher?
For sure, yeah.
Okay. Who's your team?
My team? Now it's different now because all these trades that just happened.
Yeah.
Raptors for sure.
Raptors.
I'm always a diehard Raptors fan, no matter what. I'm not gonna lie, I got Phoenix. If they can stay healthy, I got Phoenix with KD, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul. If those guys stay healthy.
Do you think they can mesh in that short period of time? Like KD's been bouncing around from a lot of different teams, and he hasn't been able to mesh correctly and effectively.
So? I think KD he's so great that he can mesh anywhere. Like he's gonna find a way to do his thing.
Okay.
So
we'll see. We'll see. You got Phoenix. I'm a Knicks fan by heart. Lakers fan historically. I still support the Raptors. I want to see what they can do with this team. We got Jakob Poeltl back.
Yeah, he just had 30.
He just dropped 30. He's back with Spicy P. We'll see what they do, man. You know, because it's going to be really interesting. All-Star Weekend. Any predictions for All-Star Weekend? Who's winning the slam dunk competition?
Slam dunk competition? Who's in it again?
We got to say Shaedon Sharpe, isn't he?
Shaedon?
Yeah.
Shaedon Sharpe.
He's
for
a
sure.
lock.
That's young Vince Carter right there.
He's a lock for me. Any books you're reading right now?
Right now, in honor of Black History Month, I'm reading Malcolm X, the biography of Malcolm X.
What tidbits of knowledge have you got from that? I read that book when I was 14 years old. That was an incredible book.
Honestly, I'm still at the beginning of it.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just kind of learning about how he grew up and how he dealt with like just being a product of his environment. So it's just really interesting.
Don't do like LeBron James and only read one page, man. Read the whole page. Read the whole book, man. Hey, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here, man. Like I said, I love to highlight the stories and integral stories that people don't get to see and put you guys on a platform because it's important. You know, guys that grew up in Scarborough and Durham, that's just like myself, and have done great things in society and in the world and have traveled and seen and done great things. And I really want to applaud you for all the things that you've done and continue doing what you're doing. You've been a great impact to a lot of people out there, more so than you really even realize. And you are Black history in essence right now. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, Jaylen. This has been the Players Corner with Karim Grant. I am your host. Catch us next time as we interview some of your favorite celebrities and favorite guests and some that you may not even heard of. This is the Players Corner.
Call the Rogers